the only survivor. The reality show, you know, that reality show that came out in the 2000s. Well, we're going to talk about the most up-to-date season 46. So, if you're watching it and you haven't finished it, save this video, come back to it, and then let's chat about it as friends. Kind of like a gossip video, but we're just going to talk about the whole season. If you have no idea what the show is, or even the season itself, stay here anyways, and I bet you will get relaxed, and it's kind of fun to talk about, so let's get into it. So, I wanted to make this video because, I don't know if many of you know, but I love reality TV, and I have been watching Survivor since I was very little. If you don't know, Survivor is a reality show on CBS, and it places, I think it's like 18 strangers on an island, and it used to be for 39 days, and the whole premise of the show is there can only be one survivor who wins $1 million, but to get rid of the players, they all have to vote each other out, and then it goes down to 2 people. It's now 3, but it used to go down to 2 people, and then the people they voted out had to vote for who to win. So it's a whole conundrum of politics and backstabbing and truth and lies, and it is so much fun. The initial seasons, I'm gonna talk about some Survivor lore, and I'm gonna actually get into the season because it was a crazy season. But the initial seasons of Survivor, they were 39 days, like I said, and it's still $1 million now. But what they have done differently since COVID, and I'm gonna read you guys something because I looked it up on my laptop why it's changed. But instead of 39 days, it's now 26 days instead. They changed it because of COVID. They said that it was scheduling issues due to COVID-19, and I can go into the lore. So Survivor used to be filmed in all over the world, in like Africa, Australia, you probably remember it, Africa, Australia, China, all over. Now it's just it's in Fiji all the time, and now they film 2 seasons back to back. So I think it'll be filming like the summer. Let me know when it is, but I think it's summer for 2 months, and they film 2 seasons back to back. And that's how they do their production schedules. So because of that, when COVID hit, if they were going to stick to the 39 days, it meant that they were going to have to be out there for like 100 days or so because of isolating and testing and all that. And they said that that was going to be too long for them, so they decided to cut it down from 39 days to 26, which is fine, but the things that have changed is they made it shorter, but they also made it so it's, I think, around the same amount of people, but instead of having, it used to be, so the way Survivor works, it's they have a challenge, so everyone competes, and if they win their tribe or individually, it changes throughout the season. If you start off working on it in a tribes, and then as it dwindles down, you go to solo play. But there's always a challenge, and you play that challenge to win an immunity, meaning that you can't be voted out. You also play for rewards. In the 39 days, they used to do like a challenge, then have an off day, then do what's called tribal, where they vote someone out. So it'd be like 3-day blocks. Now what they do is they got rid of the middle. I'm not trying to flip you off, but they got rid of the middle day, and so it's now they got rid of the middle day, and they even, I think, do jury or tribal like the night of the challenges. So it's very fast. This changed the game a lot in the fact that it made it very fast-paced. Survivor, I used to love old Survivor because the novelty of it was still fresh. It's it was like, can these people actually survive? And like, what they made it sound like it was a scientific show. So it's like, what would they do? You know, like, are we still humans? Like, what happens? And let alone you're traveling the world, which is really cool. So it used to be really, really awesome. They used to really focus on story, which if you're new here, I am a screenwriter. I love film. I'm a director too. They really used to focus on storytelling, really creating emotional arcs with their characters, which is, you know, the people. That's what reality TV does. It shapes stories so you feel them and you love them, right? Or you hate them. And it's slowly progressed from storytelling of like these characters into actual gameplay. So now people watch Survivor because they don't really care about the people that play, but there's so many twists and it's so like much strategy on like how you vote people out that's what grabs people now. And so Survivor kind of realized that, and they brought it down to 26 days. They also made it so it's a faster turnaround, right, for challenges to tribal, but they also did something very difficult where they used to give people rice, but now there's no food at all. So for the 26 days, they now do no rice. You can win some at challenges, but this season they didn't do that. I think you had to like sit out a couple people to get rice, and no one wanted to do that. So you have people like Liz, who, if you don't know, Liz was a contestant, and she's very notorious for Survivor this season because there's a meme probably going around, but so I'll set the stage. There was a challenge where I forgot what the challenge is. Honestly, all the Survivor challenges seem the same, but there was a challenge and there was a reward. And let's say this is day 20. So they've been like starving and like really, really hungry. Here, let me just close this real fast. That's my computer. But so they're starving and everything, and then there's this reward, and to go to Applebee's, and this woman named Liz doesn't get picked for the reward. This man gets to choose like 2 people, and she doesn't get picked. And Liz hasn't been eating any food. She has so many allergies and everything, so she turns to the side and she starts crying as one would. Like, it's very emotional because she was like, Applebee's, oh my god, that's my favorite restaurant. And she told Jeff this, the host, before the man picked, and she was like, I go there with my daughter all the time on Wednesdays when we watch Survivor, and I get that burger that you guys have over there, and that's like the only thing I can eat, because she has all these dietary restrictions, right? And so she turns to the side, and also she doesn't get picked, and then she just turns to the side and she's like crying, and Jeff, being Jeff, because Jeff is a nosy-o, he goes, oh hey Liz, like, why are you being so upset? Like, why are you crying? Like, do you care to share? And just, most people, they will like turn around and they'll be like, I'm just very upset. The normal reaction would be like, I'm very upset, I'm very hungry, we're all struggling, right? Does this woman do that? No. And it was insane because this woman is like a mom. She's like 45, and she, up to this point of the show, she's been very quiet, very like reserved. You're like, oh, maybe she'll win. She turns and she's just looks at Jeff, looks at the man, and just loses it. She starts yelling, like obliterating, like yelling. She's like, for literally 2 minutes straight, and she's like, I need the food more than anyone else. I haven't eaten, and Applebee's, out of all places, Applebee's, that's where I take my daughter. That's the only type of food I can have. I'm furious. This is absurd. Shame on you. Shame on everyone. How dare you? Like basically like that vibe. But for 2 minutes straight. And meanwhile, I'm just standing, like, eyeing this woman because everyone's like, how do you have the energy to say all this? And she keeps blowing up, and then she goes, and that's all. Thank you, Jeff. Which is so funny, and so that was cringe. But basically I was saying all that because they give you no food, so when you watch Survivor and they do those crazy things, it's because they're sleep deprived. One guy named Ben was having panic attacks literally all season, which is so sad. And then Liz literally couldn't eat anything. She couldn't have coconut. Like, this woman was allergic to coconut, and she went on Survivor. Like, excuse me, if you're going on Survivor and you know you can't eat anything, you are just like asking to be miserable. But they made it far. So that's kind of how the show is. I'm going to talk about these last few episodes because we just watched the finale. And the reason I love Survivor, I usually watch it not in the real season. I usually watch, like, I'll binge watch seasons, right? So I haven't watched like 45 or 44, I don't think. But the reason I'm on 46 is because, get this, I am in a Survivor Fantasy League. You heard me right. I'm in a Survivor Fantasy League. Fantasy League. How does this work? You might ask. Well, let me tell you. So, my sister's boyfriend has a group, and they invited me into it, which was very nice. Very, very nice. And for the season, how it worked is we watched the first episode, all of us, and then by the end of the first episode, which is like the intro episode, it just shows you like who the characters are. I say characters, but you know who the people are. I think you see the first person that's voted out, but you really don't know much. Mind you, a lot of people, I love Survivor because it's storytelling. If you think about it, all reality TV is storytelling, so they're gonna hint. You think they would hint, like, it's not as easy as like who has the most attention is gonna be the winner. Like, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes the show will give more TV time to people that are about to be eliminated, right? So you see the first episode, you meet all the characters, and then we had a vote. Four people that we thought would win. And then throughout the season, you could win points if they won immunity challenges. I think if they got voted for, I don't know the other ones. I didn't really pay attention, but let me tell you my four that I chose. Are you ready? I chose Charlie. I chose Jess. I chose Kenzie, and I chose Liz. And now if you've watched Survivor, that's three out of the four people I chose made it all the way to the final four. Do you know how crazy that is? There's like 18 people. Three of my people went to the final four. That means I only got one person wrong. I think there were like 20 of us. I had all of my people basically went to the final four, final three, which is a big deal. So, unfortunately, here we go. Here are the spoilers. The winner of this season was Kenzie, not Charlie. And I was rooting for Charlie because Charlie was my number one. It was literally Charlie. Then I think it was Jess. Jess is literally, just so you know, Jess went out like literally the first episode. And then Kenzie, and then Liz. And I'm going to tell you how I chose these characters and why. Not to blow myself up. I mean, probably it was a lot of luck, let's be honest. But I was very intentional about these choices, and I think I know why. Because of storytelling. So I'm going to tell you what I think I saw at the beginning of the episodes that really like made me think that these people were going to be potential winners. So, let's just get into it, and then we're going to talk about the episodes, and we'll talk about Maria, we'll talk about, she was a mom that like went out on the fifth one that I was so afraid of. We'll talk about Maria, and we'll talk about, Liz, who got out also. So I went Maria, then Liz went, then it was Ben, Kenzie, and Charlie, and then it was Ben went, Charlie, and then Kenzie. Okay, so how did I choose these people, you might ask? Well, let's talk about it. So Survivor does funny things. So like I was saying in the first episode, right, it's going to highlight all these different characters. What Survivor usually wants to do, and most storytelling, is that they're going to want you to root for the winner. Okay? They're going to want to make you feel like you know you want the winner to win, right? So because of this, they're going to do a couple of different things. They will either highlight the beginning, the winner, they'll highlight them and make them very sort of likable or neutral. I'm usually really hesitant if they make them super likable. That is usually an indicator that they're going to be blindsided. But my thing is they're going to make them neutral or likable. A lot of the time, like I said, if they give you screen time, it also might mean that they're trying to start your story. Oh, okay, well, they're going to start your story, or that, you might be getting out soon, but I also know, the winner is going to be presented in the first episode. They just do, and that's how I feel about the stories. People want winners that they feel like they've known the longest, so they're going to introduce the winner. And just so you know, they don't really, show time, TV time for each character is very different. But for the first episode, they had it very clear that my character Jess was on the brink. She was going to go out. She was supposed to go out first in her tribe. They really pushed this narrative so much that I chose her as one of my 4, because sometimes what happens on Survivor is the first inklings of people getting riled up or wanting to be voted out actually end up being a goat and staying for the longevity of the show. And I was thinking, well, maybe they're gonna highlight her as this really, she almost got out, and look how amazing that she made it to the end. That would be a really cool arc, right? She just got out, but look, she made it. She made her way through. So that's why I kept her. I chose Charlie as my number 1 because in the first episode, not much is talked about him. So I was really looking at who do they show, but they don't really talk. You don't really know about, because I was if they're about to get eliminated, they would tell us way more about the story, right? Because if someone has a good juicy backstory on why they're in Survivor, they're gonna tell it before they get eliminated. So I was looking for someone neutral and someone sort of positive. And Charlie, I think all of his shots were smiling, and it was a lot of people talking about him. They're like, oh, he's the ladies' man. It's like Charlie's Angels. And so they set it up where he has this group of people, and then it was he was very likable. He's oh, I just love Taylor Swift, and you could tell that, hey, he's likable, he's a common guy, and they're making it seem like he has friends around him, that there's a potential of alliances. And I was like, okay. And I saw him as being very sweet and he seemed like he was such a people person that I was like, okay, we're gonna go with you. So I chose Charlie as my number 1. He ended up being with Maria, which was really good, and I think it was Kenzie, which is cool. I think that was the 3. So then I chose Kenzie. Kenzie I actually chose, this could be very weird, but I chose her actually more on the aesthetic outlook. I thought she's gorgeous. She has all these tattoos, and I thought, hey, she's just very pretty, very personal, friendly. I thought she's very spunky. She seemed very all over the place a little bit, which is a good sign for a Survivor that they're going to be going back and forth. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Something later on in the season that they did with her, which I noted when I watched, and I said, why are they doing this? I don't know if you remember, but in this season, Ben, who was one of the finalists, kept having these panic attacks, and there was this one, she's always there for him, and it was especially the episode right after, okay, Ben is this guy has panic attacks, and he's super sweet, but I just find Survivor doesn't really show always everything, it's very one-sided. So they show these panic attacks, and then they show this tribal where he forgets who he's voting for, or he's supposed to vote for, so he votes for Kenzie, his best friend, this girl, right? And so it's after this, he confides in her, and he's like, I literally just had a brain fart, and I'm sorry, what's your name? We knew he was not going to be the winner of Survivor after that. I'm like, no one's going to vote for you because you just totally spaced. Intentionality wins Survivor. So he basically ruins his pose, and then right after that he has another night terror and anxiety, and Kenzie wakes up and takes him to the woods, walks with him. Survivor does this very interesting new thing when this happens. I don't know if you remember, it got it. Different music started to play. So Kenzie starts to talk, and she's like, I'm very mad, right? And then we got to them walking the woods, and this very sad, very ambient, loving music kicks in, and we have a little screenshot. Screenshot means like it feels like a little scene of Kenzie and Ben walking through the forest, and it tugs at your heart. And Kenzie's like, Kenzie says this thing where she's like, he might be like a villain. I might be going against him, but at the end of the day, like, he's a human and he deserves to feel, love. Like, at the end of the day, like, I want to be there for him. And then that wraps up that whole thing, and then the sun rises and they move on. But it's this very change of music and love, and I felt it. It was beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't contrived, but it was. Because I said, oh, Survivor's trying to make me feel like really connected to her, and it was beautiful. But if you want to know anything about Survivor or movies or storytelling, they're not going to show you things unless they want you to see it. So they wanted you to see that. And there are two reasons. Either she was going to be voted out, and they wanted you to feel bad for her, or they're building up a case on why she could potentially win, right? Because she did this really beautiful thing for this person, very selfless, and we like her, and so maybe if she goes to the end and we see her, right? Oh, she did that really nice thing. Oh, she's a really good human, and maybe she didn't play the best game, but she made, that was a really sweet moment, and so I'm kind of happy, right? At the end of the day, Survivor, I think they want people to not be outraged on who wins. The reason for that is because they want you to go on to the next season and feel fulfilled. It's storytelling, basically, but that's how I knew about Kenzie. So I was like, Kenzie might be at the end, especially, and to be honest, how I knew Kenzie was going to win, and pissed me off because I wanted Charlie to win, because I ranked Charlie number 1. She did fire, well, she won the immunity challenge, which was cool, but then she did fire making, and I don't know why people always forget that. Like, Charlie's like, I don't need to do fire making, so when it's down to the 4, okay? One person wins immunity, they choose someone else to go with them to the final 3, and then the last 2 have to make fire in front of what's known as the jury, and the jury are all the people that were voted out. So this fire making is whoever builds the highest fire that breaks a string first, basically gets to go and join the group of 3. Charlie and a lot of people are like, just take me, I want to be taken to the final 3, I don't want to do fire, I don't need to do that, have that stress. The fact that you make fire and you prove your worth in front of the whole jury is super, super helpful for winning Survivor, and I think it's helped win so many Survivors recently, because think about it, it's a show for the jury. These 2 people face off, and whoever wins gets to barely makes it to the final. And how else do you prove that you are worthy of Survivor? Especially these characters, these people were very in the middle. They weren't the best. Like I said, Maria, who went out 5, she was a powerhouse. She won a lot of immunities, and if they didn't get her out, she would have won by landslide. So yeah, she did fire making. Okay, and I was like, damn, she's doing fire making, and then she cried after. I was like, she's got this in the bag. They also kept, if you noticed at the final, they kept looking, leaning on her and being like, how do I say this? They kept being she being like, this would be really amazing. Even on the beach before they went to tribal, when they're on the beach and stuff, the show itself kind of focuses on Kenzie in a way that, it makes her very excited and likable. And when you go to cut to Charlie, you kind of see that he's a little timid and he's not really holding strong. The votes were really close. It was a 3-5, Charlie to Kenzie. I saw Charlie's name first before, he pulls it out before Kenzie, and I was like, oh crap, he's gonna lose. And he did. And honestly, I'm gonna get to my character, how I chose Liz in a sec, but the way that we talk about the fact that Maria didn't vote for him, I was so mad. This woman literally talked about, so she got voted out on the 5th one, and everyone voted her out, and she had the speech before, like she got snuffed. That's how you get exited. And she had a speech about being, I'm gonna be grateful for this opportunity for my daughters, and like I want to show like grace in class because they're watching. And she was, it was a beautiful moment. Like, don't get me wrong, Maria, she's amazing. My sister actually voted for her to win. So sorry, sister, but she didn't. But it was beautiful. But then you cut to the end, and what they do is they vote out the winner. And then they immediately, they used to not do this. They used to in the old days, back to 39 days, they used to take the box of votes, and then they would go and do it live. So the people that would do Survivor would actually wait 3 months until it premiered live, through CBS, to then, get the results. But not this. They literally, get the votes, and then they do the reveal right immediately, right then. Maria sits behind Charlie, and she doesn't vote for him. And she voted for him because they were aligned. They were aligned the entire time. The entire time they were number ones. She tried to vote him out. Yeah, he tried to vote her out, but she did it first. And then this woman has the audacity to vote for Kenzie, give her the win, because if she voted for Charlie, it would have been a tie. So she had the audacity to do that, and she did that all behind Charlie's back. And oh my god, and Charlie was like, well, I saw it, and then Maria was like, well, I saw the fire in her eyes, and like I knew I had to vote for her over Charlie. And then Charlie was like, well, you told me that if she ever got on the jury, Maria would vote for Charlie. Like, Charlie was talking to Maria, was like, you said that you would vote for me, and you didn't. And I was just so mad because I was like, Maria totally did this because she was gutted, embarrassed, and very bitter about Charlie staying and her not. And I think she let that kind of go into her vote. And Jeff asked Charlie, like, how do you feel about like your number one not voting for you? And he took a beat, and he was like, you know what, the jury chose the right person, Kenzie, and at the end of the day, that's fine, and I support that. And he went so up above the moral high ground. It made him look great. It made Maria look shitty, in my opinion. It made her look bitter and honestly very rude. Sorry. I think that was a very low blow. Like, why? How do you not vote for your bestie, especially if he did the exact same game moves with you? Yeah, Kenzie was great. She was very emotional and people person, but she admitted that she swung on the votes. Charlie made direct actions with you, and you literally had the audacity not to give it to him. That made me so mad, and I was literally like, well, I guess Maria's not who we thought she was, so obviously very dramatic, but I was just kind of surprised by that. I was like, that's very bitter. And she was like, I was moved by the speech. I was like, you worked with this man for literally 26 days, and Kenzie, like, you barely worked with her. What the F was that about? And if I was Charlie, like, her vote would have tied the whole thing. And I don't know what would have happened for a tie. If you know, let me know. I don't think that's ever happened, but I would have been pissed. Charlie, in defense, could have spoken up more about, everything he did, but I thought he did a really great job. And Kenzie, it's hard because, okay, I'm gonna talk about guy stuff, okay, so don't come at me. But I was kind of noticing, like, at the tribal, like, Kenzie was crying, be very emotional, and she was even sitting like this when they were voting, right? I feel like guys can't do that. Guys, if you can't cry, you can't show weakness, because it's gonna show you're not really deserving of the $1 million. Like, it's almost like, oh, like, you're weak, like, you didn't try. And I know we're getting past that in society, but what she was doing, like, Charlie couldn't do that, and I bet Charlie felt the exact same emotions, but Charlie had to be more stoic, and she could be crying and very, like, emotional. And yeah, also at tribal too, it was so funny. So at this final jury thing before they vote the winner, the jurors who can't ever speak after they're voted now get to speak and address the winners. And one of them did something where they were like, okay, I'm gonna ask you a question, but you only have 30 seconds, and my friend here is gonna time you. And then, so they did it for each person, and then they go, time. And it was really funny because people would be getting emotional and talking about something, and they would just hear a time, and then they would just have to stop talking. And I was like, this is so weird. And then the woman was like, well, thank you guys for your time. That was very informative. And I was like, bitch, why can't we just let them talk for longer? But that was just me. It was fine. It was funny. I was like, this is so, like, corporate. And I was like, you're on Survivor. Like, come on. Let's talk about Liz. Okay, so how did I choose Liz? I think I chose Liz last minute for my roster because she's like goo-goo. And I was like, I think she gave like a little goo-goo element. And we love goo-goo element. I didn't know she'd be so goo-goo. Honestly, I thought she was gonna get voted out after her yell at Q and stuff for all of that, but she didn't. She made it through, and I love how at the end she's like, I would have won. You guys know I would have beat all of you. And then it like cuts to Venus on the jury side, and she's like, what? I don't think she would have won. I think if it was between Charlie, Ben, and Liz, Charlie would have won. What really helped Kenzie was the fact she did fire, and then she won immunity to knock out Maria. And Maria should have voted for Charlie. I think Maria was mad that she made all these moves and she got voted out, and then Charlie didn't make a single move, and he was in the final. And I think she wanted someone to win that made moves. Kenzie didn't make a single move. She just, like, literally didn't make any moves, but I think she was so bitter about that she voted against Charlie, which honestly I think was really stupid and really mean and cruel and very selfish, in my opinion. But I also had more on the line, but let me know. So I just watched it. I'm gonna let you guys know, or remind me down below. I'll let you know if I win the roster thing. We put money in. I think I put $50. Last I checked, I was losing, but that was with 5 people in it, and 3 of my 4 made it to the top 4, and I had the most people out of anyone. But who knows? I mean, I have Kenzie as winning, but also other people did, but they didn't have like Charlie, and I had Charlie, and I had Liz. I don't know, we'll see how that works. I don't even know how the points works, but I don't know about you, but I'm very proud that I really kind of guessed who won. Think about it, I really guessed who won. Like, literally from episode 1, there's like 18, I don't know how many episodes. There's a lot of episodes, a lot changed, but I'm kind of happy I picked those people, so, but yeah, that's kind of Survivor 46. Obviously, let me know if you've watched it. Like, let me know in the comments, who did you love, who do you not love, do you like who won, who do you wish won? Please, I live for it. And if you made it this far, leave a crossbone and skulls, so I know you made it this far. I'll give you extra love. If you're new here, subscribe. Please like this video if you like this content, if it's enjoyable for you. It helps me understand if you guys like this, and also really helps YouTube. Subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, I put a lot of love into this channel, and I really want to go full-time one day. If you have the means to support us, I would love to welcome you into our membership program. You just press the join button down below. It's the price of a coffee. We're known as The Hive. We have lots of bees. You would build your own bee. It's very fun. Go check it out. All of the funds go directly back to this channel, and so by supporting us, you also support everyone that gets to watch these videos, so they thank you. And yeah, just keep it in mind. No pressure to do it now, but I would love to see you over there one day if you're interested. And thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. If no one's told you, you are amazing. You're doing really, really good at life, even if sometimes it doesn't feel like you are. And thank you for being you, and thank you for being brave enough to be yourself in front of other people outside in the world. It's very scary to do that. thank you, and everyone on this channel wants to thank you, because when people see you be your authentic self, like, you know, laughing your laugh, crying your cry, talking about things that make you passionate, even like picking your nose, all that, well, maybe not that last one, but it allows people who will view you and witness you to give themselves permission to be themselves as well. On our channel, we're really about breaking down those stigmas of who we should be, and just